Welcome back to another edition of On the Roxx. It's your girl Radio Red Roxx, and you already know each and every episode I have someone super dope in the building with me, and this episode is no exception. Okay, I have my girl Lia Givenchy in the building. Okay, listen, let me tell you something. She is from Brooklyn, by way of Guyana, by way of Brazil. Okay, she is super versatile, and it comes across in her music, and you're definitely going to enjoy it. What's up, Lia?
Hey, boo. I'm good. Can't complain.
Man, listen, if I was you, I wouldn't complain either, because girl, you are popping.
Oh,
okay,
man. Miss Never not working in the building. You already know.
Miss Never not working, and you go like Miss Beethoven or something like that too, right?
All right, Beethoven.
We're gonna talk about that. So listen, let's first talk about how you started in music. Like, when did you first discover your passion for doing music?
Oh man, since I was little, I remember my aunt was a hairdresser, and she used to play like the MTV and all that stuff on TV. And I'll never forget Missy Elliott came on with "I Can't Stand the Rain" with the back super duper fly.
Yes.
I thought I was Missy.
Yeah.
I was in the garbage bag and all.
You was not in the garbage bag, girl. Stop.
I was in the garbage bag doing my super duper fly shit. Like,
okay,
that's when I kind of fell in love with music. Like, I knew I wanted to do that because it just seemed so fun, so free. It was just cool.
See, and that's super dope. That's how I know that you love what you do, and that you're really invested in what you do. Because when you can remember the first song that made you fall in love with music, mine was like Method Man and Mary. You know, You're All I Need. So that was my song. So
I remember my grandmother smacking me on the lips when I was singing "No, You're Never Gonna Get It." What are you never gonna get? I was like, I used to race home at 3 o'clock to see them in a little shimmer dress. I wanted.
Oh my god, my pop in the mouth was over a song that was a lot worse than that. I think I was seeing stroking or something. You know what I mean? My mother was like, "Oh hell no!"
Yeah, nothing.
But no, that's super dope. So Missy Elliott was a big influence for you.
Yes.
All right, so I can see that because you have a big personality like Missy Elliott. Okay. Now, what if you ever had the opportunity to work with her?
I would geek out, completely geek out, because to me she's so dynamic, she's so diverse, different, just iconic status to me. I would
over the top.
I would geek out, seriously.
Right. Yeah.
But I would be honored to have an opportunity like that though, because she's super, super talented to me. Her, Timberland, that whole Virginia team is crazy.
Yes. Definitely. So now talk about just your entire background and how it influences your music, because we just got done with a killer session, okay? Listening to all her music, super versatile. Just sometimes your native tongue comes out, and then other times you can't even tell that this girl is from Guyana. You're okay. So now, how do you figure out what you want to do when you go into the studio, and how do you stay true to yourself?
You know what? It depends on what I'm feeling at the moment. I try not to also kind of put myself in the box. If I get into the studio with a producer and I'm feeling a certain type of vibe, I just go with it. So if I'm feeling a reggae island vibe, I'll just go with that. If I feel a heavy hip hop vibe, I'll just go with that. But it's more so like you said, my where I'm from, growing up, my uncle was a DJ. My mom had what we call a shop back in the day.
Okay,
so it's a beer garden where they play music and drink beer and shit. So I'm always with music.
Yes.
So that, and then Guyana and Brazil being so culturally diverse, you have indie music, you have Korean music, you have hip hop music. It's hard to kind of pin me down on just one sound, because I didn't come from that. And I didn't take music like that. Music was so universal for me. So for me, it's just fusing all of them together.
Got you. So it's just finding that vibe where everything is just kind of one.
Yeah.
Do you ever have people that that you work with that's trying to oh, you have to just focus on this, or you have to narrow down to this, you can't be all over the place, do you ever have that?
You know what? I've actually never had anyone try to do that to me, because I always come in being very authentic to myself and my sound, and people always gravitate to my sound.
Gotcha.
Rarely do I gravitate to people's sound.
Yeah.
They gravitate to mine. So it's like, if you're going to come to mine, you know I'm going to throw some patois in there, some Portuguese in there, and it's going to be what it's going to be. And people just like it because it's different.
Gotcha.
You know, but I came to the States. Brooklyn adopted me. Brooklyn raised me. So you would find a lot of heavy Brooklyn influence in a lot of my music. So, but I love it anyway.
Yes. See, I love that though. You know, staying authentic to yourself is definitely, it's difficult in this industry for sure, because people, you know, I feel like people just want to be able to pin you down to something. They want to be able to associate you with something. So, you know, to make themselves comfortable, not necessarily yourself. So kudos to you for like staying on your path and staying true to yourself, because I think that it definitely comes across in your music. Yeah. So speaking of music, like you have this bomb ass song right now. Okay, let's talk about this, because I heard like something was going on at KOD. Okay, so I'm like, so it's gonna be some strippers. Let's talk about this. Handstands.
Oh man, I enjoy a good time. I enjoy a good
you like
time.
The strippers? You like
I love them. Yeah, I love strippers. Yeah, I love it. So for me, like moving to Atlanta, it was such a freaking big deal. And coming out here and seeing how the
land of the strippers.
I love how the girls have their freedom and they can do their shit. So for me, it's like, why not make a song that they can actually, you know what I mean? Have fun to and turn up to. Yeah. It was only natural for me to do that. So it was like, hey, why not? Handstand, pussy popping, we doing it.
Wait, so shit. Can you do a handstand?
I can do a handstand. I definitely can do a handstand. All right. Like, you know what it is? It came from my West Indian background though, because back in the days when you had like lady songs, stuff like that, I remember being like 6, 7 years old, and there's like a big dance competition in the whole middle of in the house or in the yard, and all the neighborhood girls coming out to see who could be the best dancehall queen. It was the shit.
So you was popping on the handstand.
We was popping on all type of shit, splits, all type of shit. So I ain't changed nothing with that. It's just the sound.
That's right. Okay, I got you. So paying the ode to, you know, just the culture in general, and then also to the strippers. All right. So now you're in Atlanta and you have this song Handstands. Talk about just how the song came about. Talk about how it's being received, and talk about this video shoot, girl. KOD.
Oh man. Well, when I first came to Atlanta maybe like 3 years ago, I just loved the whole vibe. Yeah. Going to the clubs, like in New York, the girls are not allowed to show the parts. They have to just keep the clothes on. Everything. When I came here, I'm like, we busting it. We bucking it. I like this. I'm like, wait a minute, I gotta make a song for Atlanta.
Listen, and the lights is on. Okay. Listen, like, you know what, New York State, I love my state, but you know, it's kind of like more discreet and more, out here it's a party.
We went to King OD like about a couple nights ago, and I'm on my Instagram live, and the girl starts to bust it. Mind you, it's pink and everything. I'm like, wait.
She busted down pink. Okay.
My followers not used to that.
Like, wait, what is going on?
No, but it was so turned. But back then when I came here, I was like, yo, I freaking love this culture, man. Yeah. Like, I love it. And I wouldn't be genuine to myself if I didn't make a record that the girls can turn up to. And once it hit the strip clubs, oh my God. It was like,
now, how does that feel? Like, how did it feel to see it in action? Like, your song in action with this culture that you love.
It is surreal. It is surreal because just the fact that you sit there, pen something, record it, and then people receive it. You know, they receive it in a way like, oh, she talking my shit. Okay. Handstands for the rubber bands. It's like, hold on. Wait. It is surreal, but it's just a really beautiful feeling because it's like, it's just one of those euphoric moments where you feel like people really understand what you're doing and really accept you for who you are. Lisp and everything, like accent and everything, South American accent and everything is like, yo, she's different, but we freaking love it.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, but I could imagine how that felt. You know what I'm saying? And it kind of probably felt to you like, okay, this is what I'm supposed to be. Yes. This is what I'm supposed to be doing. Like, this is it. Yes. You know, did you ever have any moments of doubt though?
Yeah. I'd be lying if I say I didn't. Like, especially when I'm in New York. Like, in New York, it's so hard and so heavy. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, in New York, it's like every other person's an artist. Every other person's a rapper. Right. Like, it's almost like, okay, is hip hop low hanging fruit? You know what I mean? And then as a female artist too, it's so freaking hard because for a long time, the industry was telling you they could only be one at a time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Now it's like a whole plethora of other females that's just like, yo, if you don't, we just loving it.
If you don't, we love it. We're gonna vibe with it, and this is your time.
Because I always felt like why is it the guys can do it? Like you can have 100 Lil Waynes,
right?
Young Thug done birth like 10 niggas. Like you can have all of that, right? But when it comes to female,
look just like him right now, like literally look like him, sound like him. Like,
I was watching a video of him today, and I'm like, okay, is this Offset is this Offset? Is it Young Thug or the guy from Love and Hip Hop? What his name is that married? But the blonde hair from A1. Is it A1? The skinny A1? Like, I don't know. So for me, for a long time, I'm like, why is it the guys can do it and the girls, like, you just put us like, okay, it's only could be one every 3 years.
Yeah, right.
But now it's just a floodgate. Yeah. And I freaking love it. I absolutely love it.
I definitely love it. And you know, speaking of it being a floodgate, though, I mean, I already know the answer, but I wanted you to give me the answer of what you feel like separates you from all the other women out there that's trying to make it.
Definitely my background. Definitely my upbringing. Like, and for a long time before I came to America, I didn't know what was East Coast rap, what was Southern rap, what was West Coast. I was listening to ESG.
You was like,
I was listening to, you know, like everybody, TD Boy back then.
Right.
I had no idea that, hold on, it's a whole different.
Yeah.
Biggie and Jay-Z ain't from where Slim Thug is from or where Lil Kiki is from. Like, I had to come here and understand, like, wait a minute.
Oh, these are all different, like, regions.
So I think, like, my cultural background is what separates me from everybody. Like, I'm going to be the female Drake. Like, you're not going to stop me. You're not going to put me in a box. I'm not from here, and I'm that foreign bitch everybody want. Everybody talking about being foreign and all that. I'm that foreign bitch. So it's like, hey, I'm gonna embrace that shit.
Yes, hell yeah, shit. Why not? Like, shit, you want this is what you want? I'm gonna bring it, and I'm gonna bring it with everything that I have going on as far as music, the look, the body, boom, boom, boom. You know what I'm saying? No, that girl. Listen, go for it. I'm all for it, and I think that is working for you. So that's the thing. Like, you know, we try different things, and we try to you know, put ourselves out there, but it works what you're doing. So
once it's genuine, it'll always work though. Like once you're doing it for the right reason. Like for me, I always want to like propel female hip hop. Like I always felt like I had a place in it. Like, okay, my duty in the industry is to keep it going. Is to, you know, lay work. Like right now, if you hear, I used to be scared of that. Now I don't. That is so. You feel me? Like that is so legendary, and I feel like for a long time there haven't been any legendary female music. Like we've had females that's been holding it down, but it's like the music is so microwave and so okay, here today, gone tomorrow. I always want to feel like I always want to give music and, you know, an experience that you'll always remember, like that legendary feeling. Like next year, 5 years from now, you're gonna be singing again. You know, 10 years from now, you're gonna be singing Handstand. Like that's how I always want to make my music. So I always go into it differently, you know.
and I think that you have that formula, you know, and you're working it, girl. So now listen, with you being you know, a vivacious female, you're beautiful, body's all that kind of shit. In this male-dominated industry, how have you been able to maneuver and kind of steer clear the bullshit and also, you know, just make it business?
Man, that has been tough. I'm not gonna lie, like in the beginning, I was wide-eyed and bushy-tailed. Like I was going into sessions like just thinking, okay, you don't, they're gonna respect it. And no. It's like you have to work, you have to give like 300% to get 10% of the respect that the males have. It's crazy, and I'm like, yo, put any male on the record and I'll rap a lot of them. You feel me? But as a female, they want to know what you look like first and foremost. And then when you visually stimulate them, okay, now can you mentally stimulate them?
And that's crazy because with male artists, it is the opposite. Is how do you sound? Okay, so now you sound like this.
Right.
So let's bring your image up to where they don't even care really too much about how they look, you know? And that's crazy. So as a woman,
it's hard. It's hard because, and that's why I surround myself, like my whole management team is all solid men.
Gotcha.
Because that's like my buffer.
Yeah.
You feel me? You're gonna have to go.
keep
you're gonna go through Nice, you're gonna go through Brian, you're gonna go through Brian, you're gonna go through all of them before you even talk to me. And you'll never talk to me because they'll handle the business.
Okay.
So because for a long time it was like, you know, trust me, the horror stories that you hear from female artists, it is real.
Yeah.
Like, niggas be literally having their dick in their hands. Like, it's real. So crazy. For me, I had to kind of like surround myself with solid people that believe in my vision, believe in my dream, and is going to protect me from all the industry bullshit.
And it's so crazy. And I've said this time and time again, you know, and I've said this in other interviews as well. You know, even myself being in radio, you know, I'm not an artist, but I'm still in this music industry. And I've always said, you know, like, you have to have male counterparts in this industry. Like, it goes without saying, because you know, you have to have those male counterparts that are going to demand the respect. And you know, they're going to talk to a man a whole lot different than they're going to talk to you.
Especially a man that has credentials like a Byron, like a El Nice, like a Ryan T. Like, these are people that have been around for a long time, well respected.
Yes.
You know you have to come correct with them. And 9 out of 10 times you're never talking to me now.
Yes.
Because whatever business you need to handle, they're going to handle it. If I gotta make an appearance, okay, that's what it is. But you know what I mean?
Right.
It's very important. I always pride myself in never, you know, I believe I'm gonna be, you know, on top. I believe I'm gonna make it. I know I'm gonna be up there mentioned with the legends. So I always feel like I have to protect my reputation now.
Yes.
Not wait until something happens, then try to figure it out and then doing damage control.
That's
like,
super important.
My mother told me a long time ago, even if you're poor, the only thing you have is your reputation and your respect.
Yeah.
So I'm not gagging, I'm not choking on nothing for anything. We're not doing that.
For nothing.
That's gonna happen.
And the thing about it is, you know, and the sad part about it though, is there's going to be a lot of opportunities that you're going to have to pass up on.
I've had people, like, I have this big, like, blog situation that somebody said to me personally. Like, to this day, I still have that freaking screenshot text in my phone. Like, oh, if you do such and such, I could get you an interview on such and such. And I'm like, well, she better not be interviewing on such and such. Because what she's not going to do
is this.
Is that. Like, it'll never happen.
And that's crazy. And you know, it kind of goes back to that quote, you know, it's going to take me longer because I'm carrying my self-respect with me.
Yeah.
You know, there's those opportunities and there's those doors that are going to close. There's going to be those opportunities you have to give up that you can't take advantage of. And it sucks sometimes and it's very frustrating. You know, even like I said myself, like I've been in tears sometimes, like so frustrated because it's like, damn, this could have been an opportunity to help propel my career.
Yes.
But I have to pass up on it because the logistics of it, the business is not right.
And what I would say though is shout out to a lot of the women that are in power position. Like, I have a really good friend at BET, shout out to Tasha, and she is like one of my protectors.
Yes.
But she gets me into rooms that I would have no other way get into.
Yes.
And she do some things that is like, I'm not gonna, she always say, you're my sister and I'm not gonna make you have to jump no hurdles or go through this, that, and the third to get that. Whatever I can do, I'll do. So shout out to all the females that are like rocking with me heavy.
And those, and they're few and far in between, you know, so definitely shout out to her for that. That's amazing. So what else do you think that, you know, that you've done or that you possess that has been the key to your success thus far?
I mean, I'm just a very down-to-earth person. Like, I think my upbringing, you know, like I was speaking in the session, like, being poor and being raised poor in a third world country is totally different than being poor in America. Like, at least you have food stamps or Section 8 or food banks and places you can go. Like, I know about drinking water for like 3 days. Ooh. To the point where you only throw up water because that's all in your stomach. That's the only thing you have in your stomach for 3 days. Yeah. Surviving like that. You feel me? So that humbles me. So even now, where I'm at right now, like, I just closed on my second property and shit.
Yes, girl.
Even with that, I'm like, it's still surreal. Like, you still pinch yourself.
Yes.
You might have a car outside that people might be like, that's your... And you still pinch yourself because, like, damn, came to America and you did that? All right, but I ain't sleeping. I ain't finished yet. I'm still working. Hashtag never not working. You feel me? Like, just to be able to do these things. Like, I remember waiting for like 12 years for a visa to even come here. Like my grandmother used to come. My grandmother would come back, right? Because my grandmother came here in the 80s, and she would come back, and the whole family pack in the van to go pick her up at the airport or to drop her back off. And I remember at 9, I told my mother, I'm not going to the airport no more. Unless we flying on a plane, I'm not going no more. Grandma come every year, and we not going back with her.
Right, like, come on, put me in her suitcase.
I'm not doing it no more. And I never went back to the airport until I was coming. Like, that was it.
Got you. Now, would you go back?
I go home all the time. Mm-hmm. I mean, since this pandemic happened, we haven't been back last year, but I go back to my country, either Brazil or Guyana, 2 or 3 times a year.
Gotcha.
Because I'll tell you this, I was hoodwinked by America. Like, it wasn't what I thought it was gonna be, bro.
How many? Highly not recommended. No.
No. I recommend it because it is the land of opportunity. I would say,
right.
But when you overseas, you think everywhere look like Atlanta, like the suburbs of Atlanta.
Oh yeah.
Or the downtown Manhattan.
Right. So you have like the brochure.
So I'm thinking, okay, I'm gonna get here and I'm in the skyscraper or I'm in the suburbs. Then we drive down Linden Boulevard, and I'm in Vanderbilt Projects. And I'm like, wait a minute, that's not what they said.
I'm like, home for all of this. Like, put me back, take me back home.
I'm like, this is not what they said. But definitely, I'll definitely recommend anybody to come here because, trust me, like, it's a different sense of freedom. You feel me?
Now, when you go home, though, are you received as well as,
Before I clear the airport, it's already known that I'm back home because Guyana, 90% of the population live on the coast.
Gotcha.
Another 80% of the country is not populated. It's just forest, Amazon forest. So everybody lives on the coast and everybody knows everybody. So before I even clear immigration,
they know
they be knowing you'll be here. I remember 2018, I'm driving down from the airport and hearing, shout out to the Lia Givenchy, just touch. I'm like, wait a minute, I ain't even made it to my hotel yet.
Get in good.
But so, yeah, they love it. They love it.
Mm-hmm. That's amazing. That's amazing. So, like, what are you working on now aside from pushing, handstands?
Oh my God, so much. I have my album called Givenchy Code that I'm working on.
Okay.
I have Eris. It's 2 albums. I have Eris also that I'm working on. I just actually launched Exotic Bliss, which is my makeup line.
Yes.
That I'm wearing right now.
Okay.
It's lash. It's everything. Full makeup line.
Okay.
My whole eyeshadow palette, everything. I also have in Casey Boutique, I'm working on my lingerie line because I love a good lingerie.
Yes.
Like, you can never go wrong with a good lingerie. I don't care what your body's type is. You could be pear-shaped, round, athletic. A good lingerie can compliment anybody. So make sure y'all check out that at casey.com. My lingerie line is launched. So there's a lot of stuff that I'm working on.
You have a lot. You have a lot on your plate.
And nobody told me it was this hard to run a business. Like,
the girl, and it definitely takes a lot. You have to work harder sometimes as a business owner.
Yeah.
Majority of the time than how you work if you were working for somebody else. Because when you clock out, that job is done.
And just imagine doing that working a 9 to 5 because I still had a 9 to 5.
Wow.
Like, I've recently retired from my 9 to 5 about 2 weeks ago. I've still had a 9 to 5 all this time doing everything. You feel me? But it was just something that I had to sacrifice.
Yes.
And shout out to my fiance. He's like my rock. He's like, babe, you don't have to do that all the time. Like, you can literally leave that. And I'm like, what? He's like, watch me make it happen. And he just made it happen where I could all right, I can just focus on music. I can focus on my business. All the 8 hours that I'm giving to somebody else's business, I can give it to my own. So it's a lot of work, like you said, because they no longer 9 to 5. It's a 24/7.
Yes, 9 to 24/7. Girl, and now it's around the clock. It's the clock.
Because a lot of the people that I'm working with is on the West Coast in California, like manufacturers and stuff. So it's like when I'm shutting it down at 11 o'clock. To them, they're still calling me 2 o'clock in the morning because I'm like, I'm on the East Coast, right?
I'm over here and I'm like in bed, sleeping. I'm not up yet.
But I'm like, if you want to have a business, there's no turning it off.
That's a fact.
You
want to be successful.
The music business, everything.
Eventually, you want to make sure that you're still taking care of yourself.
Yep, I got my producer. Sometimes he might be mixing and he will call me 3 o'clock in the morning.
And you're like,
I'm missing vocals, and I'm like, Jesus Christ. but I gotta get up and do what I gotta do because that's what I came here
and
for.
fiance it's sometimes hard having a significant other in this industry. You know what I mean?
Oh my God, that's true.
You're dealing with a lot of men. And then you have producers call you at 3 a.m. I know, so having
but you know what? It's how you handle it though. Because for me, if I see my phone ringing, and I'll answer and put it on speaker.
Right.
Because I don't have anything to hide. What are you calling me for? It has to be business.
Yes.
And once he hears it, he'd be like, oh, he probably in the studio. Yeah, he in the studio this hour.
Yes.
And he's now mixing. So for me, it's just about making him comfortable because he makes me secure. He makes me comfortable. So I'm just gonna reciprocate that. You know what I mean?
That's amazing. That's amazing. So when's the wedding?
Oh,
when is the wedding, girl?
I don't know. It's like we talked about it, and I'll tell you this. Like, I'm so not conventional in that aspect. Like, for me, I'm already married. Like, he's already my husband. Like, that's the love of my life. You know, and it's like, do we need to get into business with the American government? Do I need the American government in my relationship?
Or you could go, home.
We could go home and do it. Or we can, create, like right now, like we have agreements right now. Like as we go, when things happen, honestly, we have agreements. Like we write contracts down.
Wow.
Where, okay, God forbid anything happened to me or him, we know where we both are, even though we're not in an agreement with the American government. So I'm not traditional like that. But I want it eventually, but it's like, I'm good either way.
Okay. All right, girl. Well, I respect my invitation just to get, All right, I do travel too. I got a passport, okay? All right, so just go ahead and describe yourself in like 3 words.
Energetic, adventurous, and sexy as fuck.
Yeah. Now, if you were to run for president, what would be your slogan?
Whoa. Run for president.
It can happen. Anything can happen these days.
Oh my goodness. Wow, I never thought of that. What would be my slogan? Reveal the corporation? Because a lot of Americans don't know this country is not a country, it's a corporation.
It is.
When you understand it's a corporation, you understand what you're doing. You understand what your social security number does. When you understand, being a business.
Yeah.
You feel me?
Absolutely.
So I guess revealing the corporation will be my slogan.
Or never not working.
Never not working. You see, but the thing is, with never not working is cool for music, but it's like the average person in America works so hard.
Yeah.
For almost minimum.
Oof.
You feel me?
Girl.
Like you'll be working just to pay your bills.
Yeah.
But when you understand that you are an American citizen, you are a corporation yourself.
You are.
And you understand how to activate that with the Federal Reserve.
Yeah.
Then you understand, wait a minute, I'm worth something. I'm not just worth a 9-to-5 paycheck. I'm worth a lot.
Not just a number.
It's not just a number. Your social security number and your birth certificate is the agreement that you agree with the American government. And when you understand that you could relinquish that and still live, you'll understand. So yeah, I would be one of the presidents. Like they would assassinate me because I'd be like on some JFK shit. Like, wait a minute, get your bag.
I know, that's right. So I feel like everybody feels like they could have been named something different. If you could name yourself, what would your name be?
Oh my God. You know what? I don't think I feel that way. Like, okay, my government is Andrea. Okay. Andrea is a very strong name, a strong female name. And I embody that. Like, I'm a very strong female. I think my mother and my grandmother knew what they were doing when they did that. You feel me? So, like, I can't be a Nikki or a Sharon or a Melissa. Like, though, because I'm still, even as much as I embrace my femininity, I'm not that, like, girly girl at the same time. Like, I've embraced my masculine energy also. And Andrea is such a, it could be a balance in it. Andrea. You know what I mean? Yes. It could be one of those unisex names. So for me, I'm like, I embrace both. I'm good with it.
Absolutely. All right. So if you had 2 options, if you were given the option to either have the house of your dreams, the car of your dreams, or travel the world, anywhere you want to go, travel the world, what would you travel the world?
It's like I said, I wasn't born here. So, and I remember a few years ago, I lost my passport and I felt like I was in prison. Not having the ability to leave America when you feel like it was like, no, I don't like this. No, I gotta go. Because I travel every year, but since the pandemic, last year I haven't traveled. But yeah, I love traveling. I'm everywhere. Like, I've been on every single continent except Antarctica.
Okay.
But Asia, Europe, everywhere.
Well, you've been to Buffalo. So.
Yeah. Listen, that's close enough to Antarctica. That is close. My car broke down on Main Street one time, and I was trying to get to, I never forget, the State Farm, the insurance company. I had to get my car insurance. I'm walking down Main Street. I'm freezing my butt off. I'm like, okay, this is as close as Antarctica as you get.
It gets really cold.
Buffalo is a wrap.
All right. So Lia Givenchy, go ahead and give your social media, give all your everything where we can find you, support you, and rock out with your music.
All my music you can find on my social media platform, and it's all the same, which is Lia Givenchy. That's LiaGivenchy. You can also go to Exotic Bliss Atlanta. That's EXOTICBLISS Atlanta. And you can get all my makeup. You can get my lingerie. You can get my edge control, my hair product. You get everything at exoticblissatlanta.com or exoticbliss.com, because that's our sister company, the main company. Spotify, Google Play, Apple Music. Everywhere, Shazam, everywhere you can get all my music, Lia Givenchy. So make sure you check it out.
Absolutely. So make sure you check out also Handstands, visuals coming.
Yes.
And I'm so looking forward to everything you have going on, girl.
Thank you. Handstand video is going to be out and it's going to be crazy.
It's going to be crazy.
It's going to be crazy.
I already heard. I was, I'm behind the scenes. I heard what was being planned, what's going on. So y'all just got to make sure you tune into that.
My YouTube, Lia Givenchy on YouTube. Make sure you check out all my video, my Vivo, everything. Trust me.
Listen, if you don't know who Lia Givenchy is yet, you will soon find out. All right.
Don't know, now you know.
Yes. All right. So make sure you check her out on all her platforms, support her business. Big boss moves. Congratulations on everything. All right. So that's another edition of On the Rocks in the Bag. I'll talk to you in the next episode.
Okay, yo. See, there's a lot of closed doors in this female rap game, but I keep my legs closed and Mrs. Pac-Man swallowing nothing, doors still be packing, cause I really spit that heat like a fucking Mac 10. I'm really bad, but why you got your dick in your hand? I'm really about the chicken player, think you're missing the plan, flexing like you the man, nigga, I'm in demand. I'm really about that long money from here to Japan, think I can't live it all because I rap falls out.